students. Today we will revise what we have learned in biology unit 2. Right? Our revision videos will be in two parts. Today we will watch this first part of this video. Right? So first of all we will learn about the cell.
In this video, we will learn about how cells were discovered. In 1665, Robert Hooke, a famous scientist, decided to observe a part of the bark of a tree called the cork under a simple magnifying device. He observed thin slices of a cork under a very simple magnifying instrument. He noticed partition boxes in the cork. Some say these boxes appeared like a honeycomb, a hexagonal structure that is found on the inside of a beehive. Hooke thought it resembled a prayer room, where one box was separated from the other by a wall or a partition. These prayer rooms were called cells, so Hooke named these boxes cells. However, for the next 150 years, not much was known about the structure and function of the cell. It was only after the discovery of a much more powerful microscope that these structures could be magnified and scientists were able to learn more about the cell. Scientists observed living organisms such as onions under a microscope and found that all living organisms are made of cells.
Now we will learn about the parts of a cell. Types of cell. Organisms are made up of different type of cells. Animal cells are made up of animal cells, and the plants are made up of plant cells. Here in the picture you can see an animal cell as well as a plant cell. Basic components of a cell. The basic component of a cell are: number one, plasma membrane or the cell membrane. You can see plasma membrane or cell membrane in both type of cells, animal cell as well as in plant cell. Number two, cytoplasm. Here the liquid part of the cell is the cytoplasm. Third part is nucleus. In the picture you can see where the nucleus is located in both type of cells, in plant cell as well as in animal cell. Plant cells have an additional layer outside the cell membrane that is called the cell wall. Right? This cell wall is not found in an animal cell. Remember this. Why this is not found in animal cells, that we will discuss in the further discussions. Cell as a factory. A cell can be compared to a factory. Just as a factory has different parts performing different functions, just as factory has different parts performing different functions, cells also have different parts and perform different functions. So let us learn about each component of a cell. First one is plasma membrane. It can be called the gate. Just like the gate monitors everything going in and out of the factory, The plasma membrane monitors everything going in and out of a cell. Functions of plasma membrane: it separates one cell from the another cell. Plasma membrane separates the contents of the cell from the external medium surrounding it, right? It controls what goes in and comes out of the cell. Now let us summarize the function of the plasma membrane. It separates one cell from the other. It separates the contents of the cell from the external medium surrounding it. It controls what goes in and comes out of the cell. Next one is cytoplasm. Let us see the functions. Just as a factory floor is the workspace of a factory where workers carry out their daily tasks, the cytoplasm is the workspace of a cell. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like fluid that occupies all the empty space in a cell. It is composed mainly of water. Functions of cytoplasm: it gives shape and structure to the cells. It controls smaller parts of the cell called organelles. Not controls, it contains. Organelles are the small parts in the cell that perform different functions. Example: mitochondria produces energy and vacuoles store food. Number 3, nucleus. Just like the boss takes all the decisions of a factory, the nucleus makes all the decisions of a cell. It controls the cell's activity such as growth and reproduction. It stores genes that are responsible for the transfer of characteristics from the parents to the offspring. Now we have learned about the three main parts of the cell. Let us learn about the cell wall that is found in plant cells only. Just like the fence acts as outermost layer of the extra security in some factories, the cell wall is the outermost layer providing additional protection and support to some cells. It is an additional layer found in plant cells, algae, fungi, and some bacteria. Functions of cell wall: it provides additional protection against the external environmental factors like high winds and change in temperature, since plants cannot move. It also provides structure and support to the cells. For example, plants do not have bones or a skeletal system, yet they manage to remain upright because of the cell wall. It functions as a rigid outer layer, thus providing a structure to the plant cells. Now you can check your understanding. These are the questions. Here is the answer of the first question.
cell's shape and controls the movement of materials in and out of the cell. For example, it allows nutrients to pass in and waste materials to pass out. In addition to the cell membrane, plant cells also have a cell wall which surrounds the cell membrane. The cell is filled with a jelly-like substance called the cytoplasm. Different parts of the cell, called organelles, float in the cytoplasm. The largest organelle is the nucleus. It is the control center of the cell. If we compare the human body to a cell, the nucleus will be the brain. Just like the brain tells different body parts what to do, the nucleus tells the different organelles of the cell what to do and how to do it. Just like the cell, the nucleus is also surrounded by a nuclear membrane. This is a double membrane with pores called nuclear pores. These pores control what enters and exits the nucleus. The nuclear membrane separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. The nucleus also has a ball-like structure called the nucleolus, which plays a role in making proteins and transporting them. The nucleus also has thread-like structures known as chromosomes. Chromosomes carry genes. Genes are the units that carry information about the characteristics that are passed on from the parent cells to the cells of the offspring. This is known as genetic or heredity information. Chromosomes are considered to be the genetic material of the cell. When you see a newborn baby, you are able to notice a few things about the baby's appearance that it has in common with its mother, and a few others that are in common with its father. This is because the baby gets its genes from its parents. So, we learned about the cell and the nucleus present in the cell. These types of cells are known as eukaryotic cells. Eu means new and karyon means nucleus. Animals, plants and fungi all have eukaryotic cells. That is, cells that have a well-defined nucleus with the genetic material inside it. Organisms such as bacteria and blue green algae are made up of cells that are much smaller than eukaryotic cells. These cells have genetic material that just floats in their cytoplasm. It is not inside a nucleus or enclosed by a nuclear membrane. Their cells are known as prokaryotic cells. Pro means primitive or old, and karyon means nucleus. Let us summarize. So today, we learned about the nucleus. It is the largest organelle of the cell and has different parts: the nuclear membrane, nuclear pores, the nucleolus, and chromosomes. We also learned that cells with a well-defined nucleus are called eukaryotic cells. Organisms that have eukaryotic cells are called eukaryotes. Cells in which the genetic material floats in the cytoplasm are called prokaryotic cells. Organisms that have prokaryotic cells are called prokaryotes.
Friends, now we will learn about the difference between plant cells and animal cells. Plants cannot move from one place to another, hence they need protection against harsh external conditions. The cell wall protects plants against conditions such as high temperature and strong winds. The cell wall helps the plant remain upright by being an extra rigid outer layer. Cell wall provides support and structure to the plants. There are disc-like structures called plastids present in the cytoplasm of plant cell. These are also absent in animal cells. So there are two differences in a plant cell and an animal cell. One, cell wall is absent in the animal cell as well as plastids are absent in animal cell. Structure of plastids. Plastids are disc-like structures. They can be different colors in different plant cells. Leaves have cells with green plastid called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts contain chlorophyll, which is responsible for producing food in plants through the process of photosynthesis. There are sac-like structures called vacuoles present in the cytoplasm of animal and plant cells. Size of vacuoles. An animal cell has many small vacuoles, while in plant cell, usually one large vacuole is present. Functions of vacuoles. Vacuoles store food, water, and waste. In plant cells, the big vacuoles also provide additional structural support to maintain the pressure and the structure of the cell. For example, the leaves or flowers which have cells with smaller vacuoles may be curled or wilted in appearance in comparison to the leaves or flowers in which cells have bigger vacuoles. Now here is a comparison of plant and animal cells. Students, in this video we will understand how unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms reproduce.
We know that a cell is capable of performing all the functions of life. So, in a unicellular organism, which is made up of only one cell, the different parts in the cell, called organelles, perform all the functions of life. Multicellular organisms are made up of trillions of cells. How do you think these cells perform the different functions of life? In multicellular organisms, different functions of life are performed by different organ systems. Human beings have various organ systems, such as the respiratory system for respiration, the digestive system for digestion, the excretory system for excretion, and so on. These organ systems are made up of different organs. For example, the digestive system is made up of the mouth, the esophagus, the small intestine, the large intestine, and the anus. Each of these organs is further made up of tissues. Tissues are a group of similar cells which perform the same function. The cells that form different tissues are of different types. Each of these specialize in performing a specific function. For example, nerve cells are specialized to transmit signals, while the white blood cells present in blood are specialized to protect the body against infections. In summary, we saw how cells are organized in multicellular organisms. A group of similar cells work together to form tissues. Tissues perform a specific task. Multiple tissues combine to form organs, which can then individually perform a specific function. Different organs then work together as a part of an organ system to perform a specific function. For example, the mouth, stomach, and intestines work together to digest food in the digestive system. Finally, all the organ systems together make up the multicellular organism. We have learned that while a single cell performs all the basic functions of life in unicellular organisms, in multicellular organisms, organs and organ systems perform different functions.
Now we will learn about the size of cells. Most cells cannot be seen by the naked eye and require the use of a microscope. The smallest cells are measured using the unit micrometer. 1 centimeter is equal to 10,000 micrometer. The smallest cell is called mycoplasma. It is 0.1 micrometer in diameter. The largest cell is an ostrich egg. It measures 170 mm into 130 mm in size. There is a question: are the cells present in an elephant's body larger than the cells present in a rat? Answer is no. The cells present in an elephant's body are not larger than the cells present in rat. The size of cells has no relation to the size of the body of an organism. Instead of the size of the cell is related to its function. For example, nerve cells both in the elephant and the rat are long and branched. The red blood cells present in both the elephant and the rat is of the same size. It is disc shaped, and the absence of nucleus allows it to transport more oxygen around the body. The size of the cell is not dependent on the size of the organism. So here is a question. You can answer this question with reason.